there's something that's referred to as parts work. Anchoring and integration is a process of blending and integrating the parts of one system. Those parts are like bubbles, like a pile of soap bubbles. If you can imagine yourself as a human-shaped pile of soap bubbles, and each part has its process, its beliefs, its trigger mechanisms, its decision-making strategies, its referenced experience, its emotional process, and its limitations and obscurations. So if you've ever seen one of these bubble making, I don't know what they call them, wands for children that you can make like giant bubbles with, and well, if you've ever seen two bubbles come together, they can become one bubble. And what was contained within each of the bubbles is then contained within a larger bubble, soap bubble. When you blend and integrate parts, if you see them as pieces of a puzzle, one piece of a puzzle may not make sense. It may not function well. It doesn't give you the image of what the larger puzzle is. When you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, you get a clear picture as a result. When you integrate the parts of your system, you get greater clarity. You don't have the internal vacillation of moving from part to part to part, positionality to positionality to positionality, or belief to belief to belief, or interpretive lens to interpretive lens, or reactive dynamic to reactive dynamic. People who have been through, who have histories of trauma or substance abuse and things like that, they may move very rapidly from part to part to part. Oh, I'm judging you for this. I'm afraid of that. I love you. You're wonderful. Oh, no, you're a bad person. Do you see what we mean? That internal cycling is due to internal fragmentation that can be smoothed out by integration of the parts. So if you have a very angry or fearful part and you blend it with a very peaceful part, you tend to get more of an equanimous state, a diminishment of the negative and a balancing of those processes. We don't suggest anchoring and integrating any part of your system that's a memory that you cherish. Why mess with joy? Why mess with happiness? Why mess with a loving experience? Why not keep it as a beautiful picture of or experience that you've had and that you can appreciate for the rest of all your lifetimes? That said, if you imagine very peaceful times, imagine yourself at the beach on a chair, hearing the seagulls and feeling the breeze and the sun on your face. And then you blend that with a part of yourself that is very fearful or self-judgmental or hateful. Does it make sense that you then experience greater equanimity as a result? So we wouldn't suggest that parts work is an end unto itself. It will not bring illumination. And it is a support to it because it reduces the distractions that would keep you distracted from arriving at higher consciousness. So it's this kind of parts work that we're about to describe is very useful in regard to karmas. It can be done meditatively. It's useful for clearing negative energy, and it's useful for balancing out or harmonizing one's system, and integrating the masculine and the feminine within one's system and balancing those energies. So it is supportive for rewriting the patterning of the nervous system. Now that's we're trying to say that very precisely. We don't suggest having a pattern nervous system. And almost everyone's nervous systems are patterned. Clearing all the patterns and supplanting the patterns with consciousness would be optimal. That said, if you were trying to study a school book and every few seconds you had somebody hitting you in the arm and distracting you, would you be able to evolve into higher consciousness that might require deep meditation or clear resonance with very high frequencies of energy? Probably not. So is it useful to get the rough spots taken care of, so to speak, in your system that would distract you from that process of higher evolution? So we're going to suggest two methods in this moment. For example, if you close your eyes and if you feel a part of your system in your lower chakras where you have previously unresolved fear, doesn't matter what the fear is associated with. If you just focus on one fear and where you feel it in your body, and then when you are focused on it, if you intentionally move it to another part of your body, to another chakra, from whatever chakra it's located in or near, to another chakra, and see the difference in feeling that is realized simply by moving the part within the chakra system. And then if you move it to another chakra and feel, and if you can hear internal dialogue, listen to the internal dialogue and listen to the changes in the internal dialogue. Is it still afraid? Is it less afraid, or is it not afraid at all? Or is it afraid of something different? What is its new understanding that it's arrived at simply by changing position within your chakra system? So then if you move the part to each chakra until you find the chakra where it's most comfortable, where it finds the greatest degree of peace or equanimity or balance or harmony. And this is a process you can do on any emotion. Doesn't matter what the emotion is, doesn't matter what the part is, doesn't matter what its story or feeling or narrative or dynamics or intensity. If you move it to a place where it's functionally able to feel better, then immediately your system will operate in a more functional way. You'd also suggest looking for any part of your system that you would feel that you speak from when you say the word I. I feel, I think, I want, I know, I will, I won't, I'll never. If you find any space in your system, definitely all ego, if you find any part of your system that you reference as, well, this is who I am, if you focus there, wherever it is, whatever chakra it's in, and then you move it to another chakra, higher up, wherever it's at. If it's in your second chakra, if you move it to your third. If it's in your third chakra, if you move it to your heart chakra. If it's in your heart chakra, you move it to your fifth chakra, your throat chakra. We can guarantee that that sense of I is not who you are. And you'll immediately recognize the difference in how it looks at the world and what it feels. And hopefully you'll realize that's not you. Even if you felt and believed that it was for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. It's not you. And it is a feeling you've become so identified with that you refer to it as yourself. If there's resistance to the movement of the part, just willfully intend that it move wherever you tell it to, because it must. Your consciousness is in command in this process. If you see each of these bubbles or parts as just a lens on the world that you've been looking through during your lifetime and learning as a result of, as a soul, does it make sense you can learn more wisely based upon where you place the lens based upon how that lens operates. We want to offer one more method, if that's okay. And so if there is any, if you folks are open to going through this method, it's not expected that you would, we're just offering. If you close your eyes and you find any part of your system that is as of yet not at peace, it could be in fear, anger, judgment, shame, guilt, anxiety, stress, whatever. If it's not a feeling that you want in the way that you're experiencing it now, if you just focus on it wherever you feel it in your system, and then tell it to move out from your system and out in front of you, about 3 feet in front of you. And just recognize when it's there. And if this feeling is not a feeling that you want to feel in the future, you can intend it to be sent directly to spirit for healing, into the light of God, and you can watch it go into and disappear completely in the light of God. And ask that it only return to you when it's completely healed, aligned with spirit, balanced and harmonized, and bright and full of love and joy and happiness. You can do this with any part of your system that has been hurt, wounded, challenged, fearful, conflicted, angry. You can simply send them to God. And by doing so, you free them and you free yourself. And you can ask that from spirit, that the energy space that previously was filled by that part be filled with the presence and energy of spirit. So there is no space that is made by the sending away of these parts. And that light and that love brings with it harmony, balance, joy, peace, tranquility.